Greetings, welcome to the Timeshare Traveler, my new channel blog. I'm out doing an adventure, and really I'm targeted people that want more than just 2 weeks a year to go see the country or the world. I'm looking for people who want to continually explore and see new things, and I'll walk you through what I'm doing. And how I see that going forward. So I've managed to figure out how to stay in 1 and 2 bedroom timeshares for roughly $1,300 a month, and I'll walk you through that. So welcome to my channel, and take a look at all the different topics that I'll be building out over time. Hi, in this brief segment, I'm going to walk you through how I got to my $1,300 a month staying in 1 bedroom and 2 bedroom timeshares. So if you have a timeshare, you can, I use RCI, and you can get their last minute specials. And basically for a 2 bedroom, you can get it for $309. So if you do 4 weeks, that's $1,200. I tacked on another $100 for a third of a week. That gets me to the full month. Now, let's be really clear. $1,300 a month you don't always get to choose exactly where you want to stay. You're obviously staying in the places that are not utilized as frequently, but they're not necessarily bad. I've stayed in places along the coast in California, obviously Vegas, Phoenix in the summer, Myrtle Beach has a lot, and there's quite a few locations. And I'll go into greater detail. This is just really a summary, but I just wanted to point out how I got to the $1,300. Now let me point this out. That includes all utilities. You get your place cleaned once a week. You have a full kitchen. So it has all those features that you would have in an apartment. Really, the trick is just getting your life down to what you have in your car so that as you go around to different locations. I find the United States and the world to be a beautiful place, and there's a lot to see, and I really enjoy doing that. I happen to be working. I'm not retired, but for those that are retired, this is also useful. I'm working, and I just need to be where the internet is, and all the locations that I go to have internet, so I work wherever I am. My company doesn't care where I am. As long as I'm working with my clients, they're happy. So if you have a job or you look for a job, they're becoming more and more popular jobs that you can work as long as there's internet connectivity, you can work. So if you're that kind of person, or you have interest in seeing a lot of the world, then find yourself a job that just needs internet access, and you can live for $1,300 a month like I do. Now, I've purchased other timeshares so I can choose different locations, but my base cost is $1,300 a month. And the discovery of that, and I'll walk through in detail in another video, but I realize that's less money than I have in my current mortgage. And I also have to pay a TV bill, and gas, and electric, and garbage, and many other things that I no longer have to pay living in a timeshare. Hi, in this segment, I'm going to walk you through how do you know you're ready to be on this kind of adventure? What should you do to prep? Well, I can tell you what I did. So what I did is I took several 2 and 3 week trips, and I made a bunch of mistakes that didn't fit with my personality. And really what I discovered when I got home in I think the 3 of the trips, I didn't miss my bed, I didn't miss my TV, I didn't miss my kitchen, my neighborhood. The adventures and the things that I saw were more interesting to me than being in a single location. And I didn't find it hard to get everything down into my car. I'll walk you through that in another segment. But so here's what I did. I took 3 week trips. And the mistakes I made was on one of the trip I went from Arizona all the way to Oregon and back, and I drove about 8 hours several days, and in fact I did 2 back to back. I do not recommend that. It just is wearing. You underestimate how tired you'll be from driving, and I had to work. So again, I mentioned that I'm still working and I just need the internet. So on my second trip after that, making that level of mistake, I went on another 3 week trip, and I really went to 1 location or 2 locations. I went to San Diego, and then I went up the coast a little bit to California, again leaving from Arizona, which is where I currently live. And so I did those drives, and that actually was calm. The fact that I was in a location, I got to explore it, I felt like I was part of it. I discovered a Thursday night um, street fair, and I did a little research about locations and found some places I really like and would like to go back to. I went for walks along the ocean. In fact, my $1,300 a month, if I can make this all work, I got to walk on the ocean. If I were to rent an apartment in that same area, it would cost me more than what I was able to achieve. I'm sure you've all heard the horror stories of buying timeshares and the pushy salespeople. If you haven't, just search on the web. You'll find plenty of people with sad stories. But here's what I found. If I knew what I wanted, and I knew was very clear about what I wanted, it didn't really matter what somebody else said. In fact, I did a lot of exploration. I actually took trial packages with what I consider the three main carriers, which is Marriott, Hilton, and Worldmark. There are others, but those were the three that I went to. And I went to exploratory packages, and I did not buy a thing because I wanted to learn. I wanted to see the locations. I wanted to learn a lot. So I think rather than being afraid of a timeshare presentation, I went in with very clear goals, and I was not going to be swayed by, oh, the price is going to go up, this will never happen again. All the tactics that I found. And I found that people were willing to work with you. Those are the people that I went back to and worked with. And those are the people that actually got my business ultimately. So again, I know you've heard lots of stories on the internet, and a lot of them are true. The high pressure sales and whatever. But the point is, if you know what you want and you use those exploratory packages to determine if this is all right for you, you do your test trips, you do a lot of that, then there's nothing to fear from having a timeshare, and because you're in charge of your life and you're taking control. Another decision process I had to do was, should I get an RV or should I do a timeshare? I decided obviously on timeshares because it was what was right for me, not because it's necessarily better or worse. But here's kind of a very high level the thought process that I went through. First of all, I went out and priced what an RV costs. The buses that you see flying by can be upwards of 600,000. I've seen them as low as 250 and well beyond $1 million. But so I averaged it at $400,000, and I said, "Wow, that's a lot. I'm 65 years old. They say that there's a possibility that I'll live into my 90s. Well, what RV or car would you have for 30 years?" So then I realized, the cost of having a large RV, which would be, the two-bedroom kind of style, would be $800,000. And that was not something I was willing to spend. I looked at the smaller ones, and even those were $200,000. The second factor, and this is just my factors, not necessarily the right factors, just the ones that I use to make my decision. The second one is you get from 3 to 6 miles per gallon. So if you actually use the RV on a regular basis, and you travel throughout the year, you're probably going to go 20,000 miles in a year. Well, guess what? That's about $20,000 if you use $3 a gallon for gas, and the unit gets 3 miles per gallon. If it gets 5, then you're looking more at around $12,000. Well, my maintenance fees on my timeshares are well below the $12,000 mark, and I'm able to stay year-round. So I felt it was just overall, I won't spend anywhere close to $200,000 to get that level of comfort and ability. So I view that it was less expensive. I wouldn't have to buy a second one. And oh, by the way, when I die, these get passed on to my kids, and they get to use them. So that was my decision process about why did I choose timeshares over a. Other reasons for choosing a timeshare over an RV for me was I wanted to wake up with a swimming pool and a jacuzzi. The cost of staying in an RV lot was prohibitive to me, and I know you can get around some of those things, but then you end up sleeping or staying in a Walmart parking lot, and that's not where I wanted to wake up. I wanted to wake up where there was a swimming pool, jacuzzi. Most of them have really nice gyms. Again, there's disadvantages, like you won't find a timeshare parked along a beautiful beach where you can do that with an RV on a regular basis. So there are definitely advantages. But again, my experience was, and again, I'm thinking not just now, but when I'm in my 80s, do I want to be doing a setup of an RV when I move into a campsite, or do I want to be sitting in and basically a large hotel room with 2 bedrooms, 2 bath. So that additional factors that weighed on me when I decided to go with timeshares over RVs. Again, it's not necessarily, I'm not putting anyone down who's bought an RV. Those have a useful way of living. It's just, this is what was right for me. And I'm just giving you the reasons I made those choices. Another thing to take advantage of with regards to timeshares is every one of the timeshare is connected to one of the travel companies. Hilton timeshares are connected to Hilton hotels. Marriott timeshares are hooked to Marriott hotels, and Worldmark is connected to Wyndham hotels. So every one of them has credit cards and things like that. And if you're a savvy traveler, you know the best travel cards to get. And I'll walk you through that in greater detail, but I have maximized my use of those travel cards in every which way I can, whether it be paying my maintenance in order to get free stays. Also, I attend a lot of presentations, and I attend presentations because they give me points for my hotel stays. So I end up with hundreds of nights, actually literally hundreds of nights of hotel stays available to me. I will take a presentation at least once a month, and every time I do that, I get 2 free nights, and I do that for all 3 timeshares that I own. So again, the credit cards and the points that you can earn for staying in the hotels related to the timeshares is a huge advantage that I will show you how to do in more detail in future blogs.